Hello. Welcome back. Well, it actually hasn't been a while. It was a while before we did the interviews that have gone up, but
Yep.
it's been a while since we've just told you a little bit about what's going on. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about what's been going on, uh, maybe a little bit about why we took a break from this, um, and just have a very real conversation because that's what
Sure.
this is all about. It's bringing it back to basics and just having a raw conversation about life,
Yeah.
different aspects of life.
Mm-hmm. Kind of where we've
Yeah,
been, where
yeah,
we've gone, where we are.
yeah.
Sure.
So we disappeared for a bit.
Yep.
Yeah, we kind of hibernated. I don't even know when the last one of these came out. I want to say it was like
Last year at some point.
the fall.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the
I mean,
fall.
there was good reasoning behind it.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, and it's funny because it was kind of hindsight. Honestly, it was.
2020.
Yeah. It was hindsight. Like,
Yeah, we didn't know it at the time,
nope.
but we were going through a really big shift, which we thought was business,
Mm.
and it actually turned out to be extremely personal for both of us.
And strangely enough, both you and I were actually on the same path.
It's so
We
weird.
just didn't know until I said something, and I can't remember what I said. And then you looked at me and you were like, "So can we have a conversation about that?" And I was just like, "Oh, okay, where is this going?" And then literally within days, we flipped the place upside down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you might notice a difference in background here too. We are in a completely different space.
Yep.
This is a whole new like little area
Yeah.
that was not like this before.
Nope. Nope.
Um,
This is technically my office right here.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
You
I,
know.
I hate that I suggested this for him because I love this and I wish that it was me over here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
here we are.
Yeah. So.
So, okay. What happened in like September-ish last year?
Yeah, you may. Wow.
I mean, first off, we were getting ready for a retreat
Yep. We're getting ready for a retreat. We're getting ready
where
for
we had just
Health and
posted about a
Wellness
retreat.
Expo
Yeah.
that I was still emceeing at the time, and we had a big booth set up there. Um, there was a lot of things that we were getting ready for, and I think what was happening too. These things were things that we had put together prior to
Yeah.
these shifts occurring. So
Yeah.
there were things that we needed to um, end, see through before we could flip the script.
Yeah.
I guess. So and we had to follow through on them, and that's just what we had to do, basically. And I
Yeah.
know it sounds pretty vague right now, but there's reasons for that, and we'll get into that.
Yeah.
Because it's a big shift for this business and for us personally. And honestly, didn't see it coming, but it seems like it's going on way more than we've realized,
Oh my gosh.
especially
Yes.
in this industry. We
Yeah.
call it the spiritual industry.
Yep.
Right? There's been a flip occurring, and it's not like all of a sudden. And I said it when I got into shamanic work and things like that back then, which I no longer practice.
Yep.
So right there, I don't practice that anymore. It wasn't that I woke up one day and said I'm going to practice it, and it wasn't one day that I woke up and said I'm not going to practice it. There was a progression
Yeah.
and just a natural transition from one thing to another that started
Yeah.
happening within my soul, my being,
Yeah.
and I think for you.
Even for me, so neither of us really do Reiki anymore
Mm-hmm.
either. And for me, that progression was like I saw an uptick of clients and then all of a sudden a downtick of clients.
Correct.
And through the sessions, I was like having a lot of different thoughts and feelings. I remember one time being like, is what I'm doing even good? Like
Mm.
in the sense like what am I doing here? Am I even helping
Right.
these people? Am I making
Right.
an impact in their lives? Because a lot of people just show up and they would fall asleep on my table.
Right.
And
And
it which is not necessarily a bad thing.
they're hard. these are very hard um, things to think about
It
and talk
is.
about in the sense of like, am I doing the right thing? Am I even helping this person? I think, you know what?
You
Yes.
probably are.
The answer is yes, because our intentions are always to benefit that client when
Hmm.
they walk through the door. So for me, it's a very simple yes, right? But as time went on, there was more of a sense of a natural walking away, as I mentioned,
Yeah, I
and without
started
even knowing
using
it.
tools less and less. I started
Hmm.
feeling less drawn to certain
Yeah,
things. I
I stopped using.
stopped posting about certain things.
Yeah,
I literally took a break. I took a 2 week break,
I've
almost
taken a
3 week break
massive
from
break.
social media
I've taken a massive break from
completely.
social media. You know,
Yeah.
I haven't really been out there at all, and for the simple fact that like I think it was just kind of what I was being called to
Yeah.
is quiet, clarity, um, and knowing the path that I'm walking now.
Yeah.
You know, um, so what is it?
Hmm.
What's happened?
That's a great question
Right?
because
What's
we
happened?
just talked about how
You know, we've walked away
business
from
felt like
all
it
of the
shifted.
things that we did
Yeah.
before. We no longer practice
Yep.
shamanic work, Reiki, energy in that sense, chakras, things of that nature.
Right. So bring fast forward to January.
Mm,
January was really kind of the catalyst point to push us into this direction.
correct.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
we had an inkling of where this was going to go before that because we had started shifting our focus to the nervous system
Correct.
at that point. I
Correct.
think it was in like the late
Hmm.
or the early fall because it was around
And
June
that's because of the things that
or
you had
July.
gone through, I
Yeah,
had gone through in our
your whole
lives.
thing
My whole
last
thing of,
year.
being in and out of the hospital with medical situations and stuff
Yeah,
like that that weren't medical.
yeah,
you know so it definitely brought us down a path of like, well, you know what, we know this best. We know burnout, we know overwhelm, we know
yeah,
stress. We know it to the thousandth degree,
yeah.
that we can help people now in settling their nervous systems because we figured it out.
Right.
It
And
took us
that
a lot
just
longer.
came from like you going through all of that. I
Mm,
remember one of the things you asked me was, is this what it feels like for you to have anxiety? Like, is this what you go through every single day?
man,
Do you remember
I
asking me
do
that?
remember, because I never, so quote unquote, I never had anxiety, not in the way it was ever described, right? But there was also a big period in my life where I, drank and smoked and, ate and certain things in excess so that it would be like an escape from maybe that. And I
Mm-hmm.
was self soothing myself.
Yeah.
But ultimately, when I asked that question, I was like, I hadn't been drinking for a couple of years, no
Yeah.
smoking, no nothing. I mean, clean as a whistle. And I think my body was just like, we're going to send all the feels up to the
Yeah.
surface. You're going to feel everything. And I felt everything for like a couple of years there straight. And it put me in chronic stress because I didn't have anything. I didn't have anything in terms of like doing breath work consistently back then, or certain things. Like I even walked away from meditation for a while.
You walked away from all
I
of the
work. I
spiritual
walked away from
practices for
all
a
the
while.
spiritual practices for a while because I needed a break. I was immersed in them for like 6, 7 years straight without taking a break. And I think going from one extreme to the other extreme just fried my nervous system. You know,
Yeah.
and so, yeah, so, we know it, we understand it, we can help with it. That's
Mm-hmm.
what we do best.
Yeah.
So the focus has become that, you know?
And so from those conversations of us being like, well, you did this, what happened when you did, like, did you ever focus on this? And we talked about nutrition. Well, what did you
Mm.
first get into? We both got into this world through the physical means,
Oh, yeah.
through movement.
Personal trainer, assistant stretch therapist, nutrition coach. Those were my gigs.
And anything that
Still
he
are.
did for clients, I did for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I planned my own workouts. I went and got a personal training certification so I could figure out how to plan workouts for myself. I got a nutrition certification so I could figure out my nutrition. Like,
Right.
I did all of it for myself. Um, Before we ended up getting into even like, okay, well, meditation and breath work, those were
Mm-hmm.
all paths that we took. And from there, we kind of just created the reset framework, which
Right.
is how we work with clients now.
Correct.
So it's based off of our previous experiences over the last
Hmm.
15 to 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah. So what? Because this is the part I think a lot of people are like. Well, we're missing a piece here.
Yeah,
We're missing a
it's a
piece.
big one.
You
Yeah,
know,
like you focus on nervous system work, but like
that's
what does
great.
that actually mean, and why
I think
why the shift and
for me personally, I have to go back to
Mhm.
my story,
Go for it.
right? Um, Going through that experience of being in the hospital numerous times over a few months, and 5 6 months dealing with doctors, medical tests, and I mean everything under the sun, everything. Um, I found myself one night. I think it was during the day. It was actually during the day, and I'm laying there in bed, and I can barely move. My neck is killing me. I'm stiff as a board. I'm just so spent. I feel like I'd lost like 40 pounds at that point. I'm drained. I'm highly anxious. I mean, you name it. Like eating food was like making sure that I was blending my foods. This was ridiculous. Like I was gray in the face. You saw it. My kids saw it. Like, you know, and I got to a point where I said enough
Mm-hmm.
because I started feeling that I was going down a road where I was like, I don't think I'm going to come out of this alive. You know, it's gone on for too long now, and I think this might be it for me. You know, and in that process, I remember literally like going through the stages of denial. you know, going through the stages of being angry. Like why? You know, and then going through the stages of starting to accept it a little bit. But before the acceptance and in between the anger and the acceptance, there was pleading.
Yeah.
I pleaded. You know, I really went through all of the stages of, I guess, what you would call death. You know, and I started pleading, and I was pleading, and I didn't know if I was talking to myself or something higher. But then I started realizing, like, I'm talking to God, and I'm pleading with Him, and I'm literally like, listen, I don't want to go. I'm not ready. I still want to go. Don't take me. You know. And then as time went on, I got to that point where I'm laying in bed, and I remember I accepted pretty quick. I said, you know what? And the acceptance and the next thing happened pretty quickly, right back to
Yeah.
back with each other. I accepted, and I said, you know what? I accept it. I said, if you want to take me back, if this is my time, wow, I didn't know that was still there. Um, if you want to take me back, and this is my time, fine, fine, I'll go. I'm ready to go. But I don't think it is. I think there's more work for me to do here. And when I said that, I surrendered. I said, you know what? I said, I'm done. I'm done trying to narrate my story. I'm done trying to, you know, do this alone. I'm done trying to just have control over everything. I'm done. And I said, my life's yours. If you keep me here, I promise you one thing: you put me where you want to put me, and I will do your work. I'll do the work that I was meant to do when you put me here in the first place. I didn't think much of it. Like, I mean, I had that moment, but within a couple of days, I'm up, I'm walking around. My face is starting to clear. Andrea's looking at me like she's afraid to say anything to me because now it's gone on for a few months and she doesn't know. And she's like, and I'm looking at her and she's like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I strangely feel so much better. And I feel like I'm now getting better. And I didn't tell her that. As a matter of fact, I didn't tell her this story until just a couple months ago.
Mhm.
And she's like, I didn't know that piece, you know? And I said, yeah, because it's not something I share.
Yeah, it's
Like,
personal.
really, it was so personal for me. And it was that relationship that I built in that moment with him, you know? So, yeah. And since that moment, I've gotten to a point where that's who I trust in.
Mhm.
I trust in my relationship with God. I don't trust in anything else. I trust in that one relationship with God because I know who I called on that day. And I know within a couple of days how much better I was getting. And I knew that that it was his hand. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah.
You know? I know people love using the terms like Jesus saves and all these things and stuff like that. And like everybody's against the whole evangelists and, you know, evangelical and all that stuff. And it's like, I'm not running around trying to save people, first of all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just
like
your experience.
this is just my experience. I'm not going to be here either preaching to you or anything like that.
This isn't
about
that. This is
you know?
this is a story of why we changed so much within ourselves and within the business.
Yeah.
We're not. It's not a requirement that you have to believe in God in order to work with us.
That's the most beautiful thing, is that because every one of us, and we still respect everyone's beliefs, everyone's way of doing things, because that is where you are. I truly believe, looking back, that there was a hand in probably me going through the shamanic process and the energy work and stuff like that, and bringing me through that process, that I'd end up here eventually anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think if I had that experience back then, I don't think I would have been ready for it.
Well, I saw something, and I think I sent it to you, and it basically was like, in order to get to the Father, you have to go through the Mother.
Mm.
Right? So, and what that means is that in order to get to the Father, which is God in this instance, you have to go through the Mother, which is nature, Earth. And I have said to you, I don't think that I would have been so okay with coming back to a relationship with God without the practices that I put into play over the last 15-ish years, because I wouldn't have appreciated.
It's important that we bring this up, because if you do take a look at Christianity, right? Christianity is very much like against all of the things that we've done, right? And because they're looked at as sorcery and black magic and hoodoo, voodoo, and you know, all that stuff. And I think there's a big piece of that I would agree with. I don't think there's some people out there that do use it for ill intention. You know, I don't think
a majority of people.
I don't think that's a lot of people. I don't think that's the majority of people. I think everybody has pretty good intention when they start that work. I think we have to realize that, you know, I did get to a place where I realized that I didn't need any of that. I didn't need any of it anymore. I didn't need to burn sage or Palo Santo. I didn't need to pick up a crystal or a stone or wear a necklace that had something on it.
Tools of all kinds within my own practices, within work with clients. I felt more drawn to have conversations, or even just to do more, like, I call them meditative journeys, and I have for a while.
Right. Well, listen, the Bible states very clearly,
visualization.
Prayer is meditation. Meditation stated several times, you know.
It is.
So, you know, Courtney's on her own path, and so am I, in terms of reading the Bibles.
We'll get to that story in a moment.
You know, but ultimately, this was a natural progression. This wasn't me waking up one day and being like, I'm going to change. No, this is just me, who I am today, and it's because I've deepened my relationship, and I've deepened my relationship with God. I know where I belong. I know who I am. And it's the same person like 5-6 years ago that said, I know who I am. I know where I belong. You know, and it's amazing.
And you
because
did at the
in
time.
the moment, that is who you are. It is not like, we are ever changing and ever growing.
Yeah.
And that's the most beautiful thing. And if it happens naturally, that's what's meant to be, because that's what's truly in your heart, and that's what's genuine. if you wake up one day and say, no, I'm going to do this, well, that's not really genuine, now is it? I've been called to minister.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. This is the Bible story, right? I've been called to minister, and I've been called for quite some time, as a matter of fact. But now I'm also sitting here and thinking to myself, is that the true path? Because I want to make sure that it is. So I'm sitting with it for a longer period of time than I have with anything else. And then just all of a sudden being like, well, I'm being called to minister, I'm going to jump in that. No, now I'm actually sitting with it, which is what I usually do. But now I'm really sitting with it and going, is this truly the path? Is this truly where he wants me to be? Right? And I know if he does, he's going to make it known. he's going to, I'll feel it in my heart, and that's what will happen. So that's where I'm at today. There's a lot more to it than that. I've changed the way I eat.
Yeah, same.
Naturally.
Changed the way I
through a
eat.
natural
I've
progression.
changed the way that I move my body. I've
Oh my
changed
God.
the way that I think.
It's
It's
almost like
a different lifestyle that
I feel as if like
that I'm
I've been
living.
completely cleansed. That's what I feel like.
And I'll be honest too, like there's not anybody who's watching this that like knows me in real life, this is probably one of the first times that you've heard me talk about all of this stuff, because
same here.
Like when we say that this was deeply personal, I mean like I was going through this alone. I was like, I think that it surprised the hell out of us
that both of us were actually feeling the same exact way.
And like he would come in and
business.
Yeah, he would come in and he would say something, and I'd be like, I was thinking about that too. I would come in and I'd say something, and he'd be like, I've been thinking about that for weeks. Like it's so weird that like and for me, how I got here, I remember having a conversation with some friends, and I was like, yeah, I think I've been so triggered by God and Jesus and the church that I kind of just I kind of just pushed myself to start utilizing God as a word that I utilize every day instead of universe. Right? I wanted to stop being triggered by it. And what better way to do that than to bring it into your life?
Look, my personal belief and experience, and it actually always has been this. Even when I was, 5, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, it has been this.
Same.
That
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, when I look outside, and I'm staring at windows right now, right? I'm looking outside, and I just see this world that has been beautifully engineered, which means there has to be a creator.
Yeah.
Even behind the universe. All of a sudden, we look at the universe as this thing that's, that we call upon. We call the universe because people don't want to call on God or call on a creator or, whatever it is.
Because
ultimately,
it triggers them.
Correct.
They're triggered by the church, and I get that. Like I said, I've been
there. But even in shamanic culture, they still called it the Great Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So they still knew that there was something more to it than just the universe. There was someone behind this divine creation that we get to live in and enjoy every single day. My personal belief. Believe what you want, but that's me today, and I've come to that place naturally. I can't be swayed. I just can't, because it's too natural for me.
And I've had this conversation with you. I've had this conversation with a lot of people, and this was kind of how I justified starting to utilize the word God. Was I do believe that we're all talking about the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
We're just using different terminology, and of course there are different intentions there.
Very much so.
Right?
Yeah.
But I don't think that most people's intentions are as different as one may expect.
No.
Ultimately, we're all looking towards love. And for me, God is pure love.
The purity of it.
He can be nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
So...
And I know you could look at the Old Testament and say otherwise.
Girl, you're not a girl, but...
Nope.
Girl... When I started reading the Bible, I started at Genesis.
Right. You started with the Old Testament.
Highly don't recommend that.
Yeah.
First time through, if that's something that you're looking to do. Yeah, there were lots of feels there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's how I started. Was like I wanted to stop being triggered by this, so I'm going
Right.
to just start utilizing the words. And then I had a couple of sessions with a practitioner who talks
Mm-hmm.
about God and Jesus, and not in the sense of typical church
Mm.
like verbiage, but in a different way. And it was so interesting to hear that side of it and to hear that perspective because I grew up with Catholicism
Mm. So did I.
and it was really not what I believe. So I spent a lot of time
You know, it's changed a lot
telling
too.
myself that I didn't believe in
Yeah,
God.
I had this conversation with my father. Catholicism has changed quite a bit,
Yeah.
and I guess a lot of Catholic churches right now, because there's some differences between Christianity and Catholicism, because a lot of people will be like, "Why aren't they the same?" And I'm like, "They
No.
are." There's a but. There's a few differences in there in how they actually go about
Yeah.
getting to God,
Because
right?
Catholicism is more ritual.
So it's more
It's
ritual and
more
ceremony,
ceremony.
but the priest is how that person. So the person would have to go to confession, right? Confession would take you to the priest, right? The priest gets to go to God for you.
Mm.
In Christianity, you go directly to God.
Yeah.
You don't need the minister or the pastor
Yeah,
or anything
no.
like that. You go directly. But
Because it's
in
your
today's
relationship
world,
with God.
right, in today's world, a lot of Catholic churches are starting to actually sway from that
Yeah.
and then going directly to. So
Yeah.
it really is, because in the Bible it's clear. Kingdom of heaven is within you. If the kingdom of heaven is within you, that means God lives inside you.
Yeah.
You know, we get to share that relationship. So when we call on Him, He's there, ready.
Yeah.
You know, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get excited talking about it. I know we could talk about it forever and
We
stuff.
could. Yeah.
I know there's a lot more we can get into.
Yeah.
You know,
But we just wanted to
the shift in this.
give you a little bit of behind the scenes as to what has been going on since
Yeah.
it's been quite some time since we chatted, since we put anything out about this, and we wanted to address the we ghosted you. We totally did.
Yeah.
We ghosted you. And was that fair? No. But in order for us to get the business on the right path, we had to do a very personal
We realized that
thing.
this business is ours.
Yeah, this business is literally, and it has always been based on our experience. It's our energy within this.
Right.
Without us, this business doesn't necessarily exist.
No.
So it's an extension of us. And when we go through something, it typically means the business shifts as well.
Right.
Whether it's something big like this, or whether it's something just really small,
Yep.
Which has its pros and cons.
Sure.
But this path feels really right. It feels really good. I feel like we're making a bigger impact.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're actually like rounding out what we've always done. And the only reason that we're really meant to do that is because our belief system has changed. And I know that yours hasn't changed as much as mine has.
Well, when you say that, what do you mean? Like my belief system?
You kind of have always been here. It's been an undertone throughout your life.
God?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But for me,
I've always believed He's always been there for me. He's been there a few times
didn't.
for me in the past, like drugs and alcohol, and you know, I talked about it in a big speaking gig that I had at a high school here locally, where He just opened up the skies for me when I was completely on a 3-day alcohol and drug binge. You know, so He's definitely played a huge role in my life. Today, I look back and I say to myself, wow, I got to that point of literally feeling like I was going to die. This was the end. And I finally gave it up. And I said, okay, I'm listening now.
Yeah.
You know, like I've always believed in you, but now I'm going to listen. Now I'm going to give my life over. And now I'm just going to be where you want me to be.
Yeah. I had a moment that I think a lot of people do. I was an early teen. I had just lost the like one person in my life that I could actually be myself with. And I got really angry at God for it. And so I decided in that moment, God doesn't exist. If God existed, this would he would not have taken away the one person that
and there's a lot of
made
people
me
that
feel
go
like
through
me.
that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that go through that.
So I spent from like the time that I was 12, 13 until what? About a year ago.
It's a long time.
Really not believing in God. And even when like 2, 3 years ago, when I would say like, oh, like we're all just talking about the same thing, we're just using different terms, I fully believed that I was talking about the universe, like just something bigger than me, something like whatever.
And you know, the last thing I think we'll say is that, you know, we did mention at the beginning that this industry is going through an upheaval. We're seeing it big time. We're seeing it in the spiritual community.
Yeah, we're not the only ones going through this.
We're not the only ones going through this. There's many of us that are being called right now, you know,
in different ways. In different ways, but we've definitely connected with plenty of people, plenty of practitioners in all different areas of the spiritual community. All right, sorry about that. We had a bit of an interruption, but we're just wrapping up anyways. We were just basically saying thanks for listening to our story, and that's kind of how we got to where we are today. And we hope that you'll be with us on our journey. We talked a lot about God today. We talked a lot about not necessarily religion. So to end it, I just want to say, like, you don't have to believe what we believe.
No.
That it's not a requirement.
Nope.
We're not telling you this in order to convert you or anything like that.
Nope. If you want to have a conversation with either one of us,
we're happy.
Yeah.
Happy to.
Because you're probably like, well, how'd you, what? There's got to be more. You know, and there is.
There is.
There absolutely is. But it's too much to put on this video. Yeah.
To be able to talk about it in a way that makes, I guess, more chronological sense, it would take us hours to get here because Mike has his own story. I have my own story.
Yep.
So this is just kind of a brief overview of where we're at, and we'll be back. We'll be back here more often. We're not quite sure just how often, but more regularly, telling you all about what's going on here, chatting about all things nervous system related, and all of that good stuff.
Yeah.
So thanks for being here, and we will see you soon.